Peace, family. My name is Aubrey Muhammad. I pray that everyone day is well. We'd like to thank you for joining us for our Facebook Live campaign update. And this is for my campaign for mayor of the village of Hempstead. Now, this is week 5. We'll be covering economic vitality. Now, if you have any questions, please feel free to chime in and ask me anytime. Or if there are any audio or video difficulties, let me know. And I look forward to hearing from you. Now first, basically, economic vitality in the village of Hempstead, I'm speaking of mainly relying on ourselves. You know, our lack of pooling our resources and our unity, you know, outsiders have leveraged this against us. They've capitalized by, you know, offering us anything that we're desperate for. You know, we're desperate for jobs, for economic stimulation, so they can put anything up to us. And the problem is, with that lack of unity, we don't circulate our dollars. On average, in the black communities across America, when the dollar gets in our hand, it is out of our community within 6 hours. No other community suffers from this. Now we have to change that. We have to pool our resources and circulate those dollars amongst ourselves, because that builds up the economy and that strengthens us. That's investing in ourselves. Now that problem that we have, others invest like 6 times the dollar circulates back in their community. Sometimes it's up to 12. There are other communities across America where their dollars, they turn back in their community like 12 times. And with us, we're the only ones that suffer this 6-hour pass of money. We get the payment, then we pay our bills, and we're very highly consumerized. This has to change. And actually, that fear of not wanting possessions or valuables comes from an obscure tradition at the turn of the 20th century. In the early 1900s, we had 50 all-black towns across the nation, from Los Angeles to Rosewood, Florida. 50 independent black towns. And they were raised by a government pogrom and the Ku Klux Klan. Literally, we were terrorized out and murdered, and those towns were razed. And from then on, even in sharecropping, if we had any possessions, we would be fearful to own anything. We would be questioned, do you own anything? We would emphatically deny it. And that has continued to this day. We literally brag about not possessing anything, you know, of just living paycheck to paycheck. And as long as we have the material consumerized things, we feel we benefit and we feel that things are good. This is not good, though. That's why we have to invest in our communities. Now, the issues is our community, it's not a solid community. Black communities across America, most of them, we resemble colonies. Outsiders control things, the economy, the laws, and they highly influence us. And that's a problem we must remedy. Now, we literally have a brain drain. And I mean, our talent, our skills, some of the first things we do, we have this cliche. Literally, this is us, of what success is, that we've made it. As soon as we get a cash bonanza or fame, one of the first plans we have in our communities is to move out. And others even congratulate us. Oh, you made it. You know, now we need to be like a Jay-Z and Jay Electronica, we made it. Instead of bragging about taking our talents elsewhere, we need to recirculate those talents and put them back towards our community to build them up. This is why this has given outsiders the advantage of coming on in. We've created blight in our community by our fleeing at the first challenge, the first economic challenge. Now, the gentrification has been done by design. They've been doing that to us since the turn of the 20th century. After World War II, we come into these communities. They mainly have been doing it to keep us off balance, to keep us nomadic, so we don't settle down and invest our money in the community to build homes, build businesses that are ours, and have legacies of families, of the senior this, junior this, the second this, the third William that. Had to have a legacy to live up to and something to defend. You stand up strong. We defended those all black towns. those 50 towns with arms. That's why they raised the towns, because we fought back. They weren't expecting us to fight back. We literally protected those towns. We didn't burn down those towns when we, like we do today when we revolt. We're in this colony-like situation, so we burn up possessions. We believe in the spirit are not ours, so we do destroy them. Not the all-black towns. We defended them. This is why we would disarm afterwards. Now, investing in our communities is basically we have to shift that around. If a business is in the community and they don't support the community, don't patronize it. I mean, that goes back to Mr. Civil Rights, Adam Clayton Powell. He's up in Harlem. He said, look, if they don't employ you or support this community, don't patronize them. Don't go in there. We need to be more specific with this. And this change literally have to come from a paradigm shift. We must create an educational system to be educated about this. Very few of us know that history. We learned to teach what Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Rosewood. We learned that on YouTube and social media within the last 10 years. We've learned a lot of history about ourselves. Before that, you had to be scholarly. You had to be a bookworm. You literally, back in the 90s, you had to be in libraries and cultural centers. And you really had to know, you had to study, be a bookworm, go in the library and search for those books. We had black bookstores all throughout the communities, and we supported them heavily in the 90s. Now, excuse me. And family, if there are any questions, please feel free to chime in about economic vitality. Because that's the key. We all must contribute. We get this money and we just go, you know. We don't build any institutions. We got to take charge of the educational system to change it, to properly educate us in excellence. Then our religious organizations, they got to be supportive, to teach economic vitality, investing in ourselves. Some of us, you know, when our people have so-called made it and move out, the first thing we do is celebrating them up in the church. Just need to be turned around. You know, it's the churches, our religious institutions, mosques and church, basically are in competition against smartphones, media, and television. That's dumbing down the country. You know, these, plus the bad food, the GMOs, the chemicals, all that. We literally are at war. And they literally, through the media, are dumbing us down. And we got to change this around. And our institutions that don't support us doing that, you shouldn't support. We have to change that. Don't support them. Let's support the ones that do. Let's put our energy and focus there. We'll start changing our condition around. We fall for anything, you know, because we're kind of desperate. And when we do have a strong economy, when we have a robust, vibrant economy, businesses that we shouldn't bribe businesses to come in anyway, even if they were strong. You know, but pilots and tax credits are basically bribing businesses to come into your community. A business should believe in our community. You know, like we have to believe in, to invest in it. Because if you come in through a bribe, now you have a lack of concern and apathy is present. So that's going to be the theme. So naturally you're going to form a cash cow. Just take the money and leave. You won't think to invest. You don't feel committed to a community that bribed you in. And this being done highly in Nassau County with the pilots. In a village like Hempstead with this concentrated poverty, it has to stop. It literally demolishes us. I mean, a retail store or a supermarket that gets a pilot a tax break, they lower their prices. The small mom and pop business in small deli next to them, they can't compete. They go out of business. And a lot of small businesses are going out of Hempstead. We just had the example of the supermarket. Super Associated Farms over on Henry and Greenwich. And we had a pizza parlor there, Pat's and Tony Pizza Parlor. These were family businesses that contributed to the community. Rubber Donnell's barber shop there, the laundromat. They had the 99-cent store there. They had the other family boutique there. They had the hair salon there. These were community-based. They employed a lot of community people. And now they're gone. And now we have a CVS that's getting them another tax break. Now the stores around closer, they have to raise their prices because they can't compete with a store that's getting blessings. Outsiders that are contributing nothing. But the promises of this job will make up for this tax break we get. No, we don't need you for your promises. businesses' promises. We need you to pay full taxes, because a lot of these services are being denied. A lot of our services are being cut, and these businesses are being blessed, and it's a hands-off policy towards them. But us in the small, you own a small business or your house, you don't pay your taxes or rent, they're quick to toss you out. The sheriff will be pulling up very fast on you. They'll be auctioning your stuff. They will. They're hard on the common people, but bless the big business. That cannot happen in Hempstead. And it's being done because of gentrification. And I think, excuse me again. Oh yes, okay, I got a comment here. Okay, my brother Jason, he says, this is how you effectively make your community a better place to live. That's right, brother Jason. We do it. We participate and we contribute more, and we invest in ourselves. And overnight, our communities will start to change. Instead of us relying on outsiders, we can do it. And thank you, my brother Jason, for that comment. And also, let's see, the community forums. We must plan community forums so that we can discuss this issue further. Whenever you have pilots and these master development plans, a lot of them have been done in private. A lot of that planning is done in private. We need public forums where we sit down and discuss what's the relevancy of pilots and tax breaks. What type of models do we need in the community? And then we need to decide, if you're not paying your full taxes and you promising us benefits, the jobs, just to give you a salary to help you pay those high taxes. We can't live on promises. The community forum should decide whether if you're not paying your full taxes, you shouldn't be prioritized for service. You should be last on the list for service when services come. These people are prioritized. They're almost the first for service, and this is a topsy-turvy relationship we must turn around. This is why people disrespect our community. We have to be the ones to protect our community. We have to be the ones that invest in it. When they were founding Howard University, they were in the basement of a church, and there were 3 things Caucasian people said they were not going to teach black people. 1 was the science of business, 2 was the science of mating, thoroughbreding, and 3 was the science of war. And actually, business and sex are war. The battle of the sexes that come from Europe, and that's been imposed on us, and we have to change that around. Now, if they're not paying full taxes, they really don't care. I mean, you don't care about the community. You know, we can't do that. Smaller businesses can't make these promises, and they are the ones employing families in the communities, buying homes, living in the communities, supporting the community. And if they suffer, and then we mock them as over living, or living too large, or living above their means. But others, when they don't make those those pilot payments, even with breaks, they get blessings. They further the contracts. Now, in regards to us personally, property owners, did you know that 40% of property owners of homeowners mainly, don't file for tax grievances? Now, that 40% mainly represent us. That code, they say, they use the code word minorities, are mainly the ones that don't. That's mainly black, indigenous, Latino people that don't file tax grievances to get tax breaks, not tax breaks, but to lower their taxes. And if we don't file these grievances, we pay 7 times as much as those that do. That's $2,700 a year. We're paying more. That's 35% more than we're paying than those that do file tax grievances. There's a lot of programs out there where you can do tax grievances for free. People will show you how. You don't necessarily need a lawyer. The county, most of the time, they settle those grievances. They get a lower payment. This has not been emphasized in our community. I remember during the subprime mortgage crisis, 2007, 2009, I'm walking through the community, people losing their homes. These property taxes in the village of Hempstead are ridiculous. Over $1,000 a month. Some people paying almost $2,000 a month. Now, people losing their home, and I'm walking to the home and to go do their tax grievance or reassessment, and they were already selling their homes. One person, I think, filled it out, but a lot of other people, it was too late. Some of them didn't want to lower assess their house because they were selling it. Obviously, they were looking for more, have a high assessed house, but it was already lower assessed than neighboring villages. neighboring towns around us. Most of the housing in Hempstead is lower assessed than neighboring towns, yet we pay higher taxes. And this has to be turned around. We got to educate our people. Our people need to know what's going on, because we're losing out a lot. Now, in regards, once again, if you have any questions, family, please feel free to chime in. Okay, excuse me. In regards to us being truly economically strong, I propose that we renegotiate this development that's going on in Hempstead, because it has too many pilots, too many tax breaks. They haven't been transparent with us. They've been very secretive, and they haven't been honest with us. They have been deceptive, and we must open our own businesses. And I propose a farmers vendors market. That's a main farmers vendors market. But we in the community, and through the seasons like spring, summer, and fall, we do micro farming in our own yards and other properties that's not being used. And we take that to the farmers market during those seasons. And then during the winter, this season, we do mainly vending. That's where at home you make your own goods. You can make soaps and crafts. I've done vending before. It's a good occupation. A lot of people make a living from that. In Harlem, it had one of the most magnificent vendors market in the world, really. Harlem 125th Street in the 90s. And Giuliani closed that down. Why? Because it's prosperous for us. It supports the community. That's the African tradition. The vendors, those open markets, we get blessed in there. And then in the schools, and home-based businesses. We also have to expand in home-based businesses. That's the start we can do. Once we start there, doing for ourselves, and if you have any criminal history, you can still come in and vend. That won't block you from doing business for yourself, because most of these outlets, there are thousands of jobs available. There are over 1,000 job openings right now in Nassau County, and they aren't hiring us, and no premium jobs especially. We're last on the list. We're not prioritized there. I'll let you think over that one yourself. Now, we need to do micro farming in the school. Each school should have a plot of land where students learn farming. They learn how to grow, they learn accounting, that's hands-on business skills, and they literally take the produce to the farmer's market, learn how to sell, learn the business hands-on experiences. And some of that food can also be served in the cafeteria as an alternative to the GMO food and that bad, unhealthy food that they're pushing on us, because it really affects our children. And that's hands-on experience for them. They would cherish that. They'll never forget that. That way they won't come out of school asking for a job and being held hostage, to someone offering them a job. And in our desperation, we accept anything, any plan or proposal they bring to our community. Our youth excel. And this is a start for us. It doesn't have to be, a lot of us want the magic bullet. We want the big prize. We want these big things. And we're tantalized from that. And that's being used against us. If we really think that outsiders are going to plan big things for us, you're in for a surprise. And I mean, really, because the more industrious we are in the blight in the village that they've caused through this gentrification process, it's been like a 15-year process. The blight that they have created, and the fleeing, and the presence of zombie homes, that blight, we could remedy. If we were to go in and start taking over properties and producing with them, it would produce a more industrious look for the village. If it's more it has more industrious look, that's more attractive for us. That's better for us to invest in. We can be proud of that. We need to take pride in where we at. We would litter less. We do that. We don't, this litter that you see in Hempstead, we do not do that in other communities. When we're visiting other communities, go to Roosevelt Field Mall and look at our people. Well, we do not litter like we do in our community. In our community, it's like a subconscious. You see a garbage, you treat the community as a garbage can. Now, if we make our communities more attractive and more industrious, more productive, then we can invite outsiders in with proposals and plans and development, because then they'll be complimentary. Then they'll respect us. They have something to bring to the table, and we have something to stand on. some strength in our industriousness. You know, we need restoration. We really have been damaged in this country. Racism is so stressful to us. It's in the subconscious. It's consciously on our mind. And even subconsciously, we're always concerned about who feels this about us. Why did this person slight me over here? Is it because I'm different than them? You know, racism in this country is so thick you can cut it, and Trump's presidency just proved that. He has brought out the racism, people we didn't know were racist, people making comments now and racial slights just loosely now than they did before. Now, these outside companies that do come in, if we are covering down on our communities and being more industrious, these outsiders that come in, they would love to contribute their full share of taxes. Instead of coming up with these pilots, getting these tax breaks, and then, through this magic of our promises of the later benefits, y'all will be blessed, don't worry about it. None of them have kept their promises. If it looks better, if we're doing better, we're improving ourselves, we need training centers. We need technical training centers. We can do self-farming. Farming is a simple thing, you know, and that's a science to it. The more developed it is, but the simple micro farming is not that difficult. Some people in Newark, they're doing bin farming. They have bins, literally 5-gallon buckets of soil producing different goods in that. Then they have bins that look like the plastic clothing bins, those 20-gallon bins with different on rooftops. They have abandoned warehouses in Newark where they transform them into micro farms on the roof with bins that are convertible and adaptable to different produce. And it's all types of things we can do. Once we start doing industrious things, that's the seed that grows to many other things. And we must attract outsiders who are concerned about our community and our well-being. We need a restoration center to restore our minds to ourselves, a conflict resolution center. And that's us covering down on our beefs. You know, most of the time we look for outsiders to do for us. I've literally seen family members, this is true, call the police on each other. Two members of the same family in a squabble, and both of them get on the phone and call the police right directly on each other. That's, you know, we can't treat the police as armed social workers. You know, we have to rely on ourselves. We have to trust in ourselves like we trust in them. That's our problem. We're very naive and we're suffering highly because we trust in others. They have the right words. They say all the right things and we trust in them. And they break their promises every time. And they always claim that my hands are tied. It's not within my power. I can't do it. And once we get outside businesses who truly are committed to the community, then we're seeing improvement instead of those who just setting up cash cows. They're coming in, taking the money, they're gone. We need to come into communities, and if we recycle our dollars amongst ourselves, our small business will turn into stars. They'll start producing other businesses and other opportunities. Excuse me. And we can do it. And basically, we have to change that relationship. It's up to us. No one else will do it. And we have to rely on ourselves. And that way, if we cover down on our community, any outsiders who bring a program, that must be presented to a public forum. That cannot be done in secret with our officials. Our officials have betrayed us. They deceive us. They look out for outside interests and they put us last. They do not prioritize us. We must do it for ourselves. And I know we're in a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, and we can't pass that pain around. We must confront it. We got to face it. Our religious institutions, they got to confront the pain. We go in there, we're hooping and hollering. A lot of us are over superstitious. A lot of religious institutions in the black community and Latino are over superstitious. We have this mysterious means. We need to get into the real healing power of God. And once we got it, the Holy Ghost just ain't up in church. We walk with it. We leave it up in church. It's like a Band-Aid fix. It's not the healing power of God. God heals. And once we're healed, you're responsible to heal those around you. Because if you don't, if you are blessed, to say you do get a business, you do have fame, if those around you in the community, if we're not blessing them, if we're not including them, if we're not uplifting them at the same time, that'll come back to haunt us. You'll be in a living hell. You box yourself into a corner. And this is the problem with favoritism, nepotism. It has blessed only a few who really don't even care. You know, when you do people a favor, you're not getting qualified people in there, people with concern. We got to get the right people in there, and we can do it, Hempstead. Now, if you have any questions, please let me know. All right, I see the comment there, just from my brother Jason. And well, it's 6 o'clock. It's time to me conclude. But I look forward to seeing you next week, Sunday, same time, 5:30 for week 6 of my campaign update. And if you have any questions, please feel free to inbox me or chime in during next week. And please contribute to my campaign with a donation to help me out, because I need help getting this message out. It's an important message. It's a message that's going to help the village and help us and help our people. And we must do for ourselves. We cannot rely on others. We'll be blessed beyond measure. I'd like to thank you for joining me, and may your evening be blessed. Peace and blessings.